Everybody lies. It's not a cynical worldview, it's a psychological fact. Years ago, an experiment was devised with a broken vending machine. Subjects were told that if they put $1 in, the machine would dispense candy but also return their dollar. It worked. They could get as much free candy as they wanted. On the machine was a sign to report any malfunctions. Please call this number. The number went to the lead researcher. Out of dozens of subjects who took their free candy, guess how many called to report the error? 0. Not 1. Because when the truth costs us something and a lie offers a reward, our moral compass can begin to spin. We tell ourselves little lies to get through the day. But what about the big ones? The lies that build a life or shatter one? Today, we're venturing into a house built on such lies, a place where the truth is buried, and every creak of the floorboards whispers a secret. Welcome back to the channel. The book we are dissecting today is a masterclass in psychological suspense that will wire your brain to see the world and the people in it with a chilling new clarity. It's called Never Lie by the queen of mind-bending thrillers, Freida McFadden. This isn't just a story, it's a trap, and McFadden is baiting it with our own deepest fears about trust and intimacy. The central problem this book wrestles with is terrifyingly simple. What if the person you've promised your life to is a complete and utter stranger? What if the home you're building together is not a sanctuary, but a tomb filled with secrets you were never meant to find? Newlyweds Tricia and Ethan are house hunting, searching for the perfect suburban nest to start their lives. Ethan is handsome, successful, and utterly devoted to Tricia. Theirs is a whirlwind romance, a love-at-first-sight story that feels like a fairy tale. But 6 months into their marriage, Tricia is still learning about the man she married, a man who can be so perfect one moment and so stubbornly inscrutable the next. Their search leads them to a remote, Gothic estate in Westchester, a house that seems too good to be true. It's grand, elegant, and mysteriously underpriced. But as they get stranded there by a freak blizzard, Tricia is consumed by a sickening feeling she can't shake. Something terrible has happened in this house. This feeling is the first crack in the beautiful facade of her new life. Freida McFadden's grand promise to you, the reader, is not just a thrilling story. It's an immersive experience into the heart of paranoia. She promises to lock you in this house with Tricia, to make you feel the cold, to make you jump at every shadow, and to make you question every single character, including the one whose eyes you're seeing through. By the end of this book, McFadden promises that the line between love and deception, victim and predator, will be so blurred, you won't know who to trust. The grand promise of Never Lie is that it will dismantle your assumptions about good and evil and leave you breathless, staring at the final page, wondering how you could have been so blind. So, pour yourself a drink, lock the doors, and let's step inside. The tour is about to begin. Our journey begins in a car lost in a snowstorm. Tricia is frustrated. Her husband, Ethan, refuses to admit has missed a turn, a minor stubbornness that foreshadows a much deeper, more dangerous inflexibility. Has the perfect husband 90% of the time, but it's the other 10% that worries Tricia. The blizzard is getting worse, the roads are slick, and their luxury BMW is not built for this. As the car skids on a patch of ice, Tricia's heart pounds. The snow is no longer the cute, romantic flurry it was when they left the city. It's a blinding, suffocating wall of white. This is the backdrop McFadden paints: isolation, danger, and a creeping sense of being trapped, not just by the weather, but by the choices they've made. When they finally find the turn onto the narrow, unpaved Cedar Lane, the house comes into view, and it is breathtaking. A sprawling, 2-story estate with pointed arch windows that give it the look of a cathedral. It's everything they've been searching for. Ethan is instantly mesmerized. Jesus, he breathes. Can you imagine living in a place like that? He is sold. This is his dream. But Tricia feels a wave of nausea so intense she has to cover her mouth. Her intuition screams at her, something terrible has happened in this house. And then, their situation goes from bad to worse. The car gets stuck in the snow. They're close enough to walk, but Tricia is in designer boots. Completely impractical for the foot of snow on the ground. Ethan, ever the hero, piggybacks her to the front door. It's a moment of swoon-worthy romance that feels jarringly out of place against the backdrop of the ominous house. They see a single light on in an upstairs window, assuming the real estate agent, Judy, is already there. But the house is silent. The first floor is completely dark. They find a spare key under a potted plant and let themselves in, a decision that seals their fate for the night. The inside is even more unsettling than the outside. The living room is vast, filled with expensive furniture, a leather sectional, bookcases brimming with books, but everything is covered in a thick, undisturbed layer of dust. Cobwebs hang in the corners. It's clear no one has been here for a very long time. This isn't just an empty house, it's a time capsule. And then Ethan is frozen, staring up at the mantel. Hanging there is a gigantic, larger-than-life portrait of a woman. She is striking with pinned, straight auburn hair that seems to shift to a brilliant red and the most vivid, piercing green eyes Trisha has ever seen. Ethan's reaction is strange, a sneer twisting his lips. What kind of arrogant, self-obsessed person would put a gigantic painting of herself over the fireplace, he says. The painting, and Ethan's visceral dislike of it, becomes an oppressive presence in the room. Trisha, trying to distract herself, wanders over to a bookcase. An entire shelf is filled with copies of the same book, The Anatomy of Fear. She plucks one off the shelf. The author is Adrienne Hale, MD, PhD, and on the back cover is a photograph of the author, the same woman from the portrait. Suddenly it clicks. Dr. Adrienne Hale, the famous psychiatrist who disappeared 3 years ago. A sensational news story that gripped the nation, partly because her pop psychology book had just become a massive bestseller. She disappeared. Trisha corrects Ethan. I don't think they ever found her body. They are standing in the house of a dead woman. A murdered woman. Ethan seems unfazed. Everyone dies eventually, he shrugs. But for Trisha, the house is no longer just creepy. It's the scene of a crime. The sick feeling in her gut intensifies. She knows, with a certainty she can't explain, that they are not alone. Her eyes scan the dusty floor and she spots a single, clear footprint, much larger than her own, near the bookcase. It doesn't belong to her or Ethan. The narrative then fractures, and McFadden introduces a second timeline, taking us back to the days before Adrienne Hale's disappearance. We meet Adrienne through her own voice, and she is nothing like the tragic victim from the news reports. She is a trained psychiatrist, and her expertise is in deception. The book's prologue is from her perspective, coolly explaining a psychological experiment about a broken vending machine. Her conclusion is stark: everybody lies. She sees herself as a human lie detector, far more accurate than any machine. If you are my patient, she says, and you are sitting in my office talking to me, I can watch your face and your gestures and listen to the pitch of your voice. I will know the truth. I always know. Never lie to me. This is not a woman who is easily fooled. She is sharp, analytical, and perhaps a little arrogant. We see her in her sprawling, isolated house, a place she chose for its privacy. We see her interact with her literary agent Paige, a woman Adrienne clearly disdains for her superficiality and lack of intellect. Paige is concerned for Adrienne's safety, living all alone so far from civilization. You don't even have good cell service. Anyone could come in here, Paige warns. Adrienne dismisses her concerns with a cold superiority. She has locks on the doors. She feels perfectly safe. Through Adrienne's clinical, detached narration, we learn about her patients, the secrets they tell her, and her uncanny ability to see through their deceptions. We learn about a particularly difficult patient, a 29-year-old narcissist with the initials EJ, whose mother has stopped paying for his sessions. Adrienne is in the process of terminating him, much to his fury. You're going to be really sorry you kicked me out of here, he threatens. Back in the present, Trisha's paranoia is escalating. She and Ethan explore the house further. In the kitchen, they find fresh food in the refrigerator: bologna, bread, mayonnaise, all with future expiration dates. Someone has been here recently. Someone stocked the fridge. Then Trisha spots a glass by the sink, half full of water, with condensation dripping down the side. Someone was just drinking from it. Convinced there's an intruder, they decide to search the house. Ethan, trying to be practical, grabs a large serrated knife from the kitchen block. Together, they creep up the winding, creaking staircase to the second floor, the floor where they saw the light. But all the rooms are empty, dark and dusty. They check every bedroom, every closet. There's no one. Trisha finds Adrienne's walk-in closet, filled with expensive designer clothes. No woman, she thinks, would voluntarily leave all this behind. This is more proof Adrienne is dead. But the light they saw from outside is nowhere to be found. Ethan tries to rationalize it away, but Trisha is certain. As they head back downstairs, Trisha discovers another room, Adrienne's office. Like the rest of the house, it's filled with books and expensive leather furniture. And on the desk, There's an old-fashioned tape recorder. It's empty, but the discovery plants a seed in Trisha's mind. As Ethan makes them sandwiches, the unease gnaws at her. Later, while exploring on her own, she notices a bookcase tucked behind the stairs, filled with paperback novels. On a whim, she pulls on a copy of The Shining. It doesn't come out. It's stuck. She pulls again and hears a click. The entire bookcase shifts, revealing a hidden door. Her heart hammers in her chest. She steps inside. The room is small, a secret closet filled with more bookcases. But these shelves don't hold books. They are lined with thousands of cassette tapes. Each one is meticulously labeled with a set of initials, a session number, and a date. These are the recordings of Dr. Adrian Hale's private therapy sessions. The motherlode. The secrets of every person who ever sat on her leather sofa. Impulsively, Trisha grabs one, a tape labeled with the initials PL, and stuffs it into her coat pocket just as Ethan calls for her. She keeps her discovery a secret. She knows Ethan would disapprove, that he'd call her a busybody, but her curiosity is a ravenous beast. That night they get cozy by the fire with a bottle of wine Ethan found. Trisha is hiding another secret. She's pregnant. She's terrified to tell Ethan, worried he'll be angry that their plan to wait a couple of years is ruined. As they sit on the couch, the portrait of Adrian Hale looms over them. Trisha can't stand the feeling of those green eyes watching her. To appease her, Ethan takes the painting down and turns it to face the wall. Later, while Ethan is upstairs taking a shower in the dead woman's bathroom, Trisha seizes her chance. She goes to Adrian's office, retrieves the tape recorder, and slides in the cassette she stole. It's session number 2 with a patient named PL, a 25-year-old woman suffering from PTSD after surviving a traumatic incident. As Trisha listens, a horrifying story unfolds. PL recounts a weekend at a cabin with her fiancé, Cody, and 2 friends. She woke up to find Cody being stabbed to death beside her. A man, an intruder, murdered all 3 of them. PL only survived because the man left her for dead. She tells Dr. Hale about the nightmares, the constant fear that the killer, who was never caught, is going to come back for her, the only witness. Dr. Hale's voice is hypnotic, reassuring. I promise you, she tells the terrified young woman, you will get better. The story is harrowing, and it's the centerpiece of Adriana's best-selling book. But as Trisha listens, she is pulled deeper into the mystery. She can't sleep. In the middle of the night, at 3 a.m., she goes downstairs. She needs a distraction. She goes back to the hidden room of tapes. This time, she notices they are color-coded. Blue for a first session, black for subsequent sessions, and red for a final session. She sees the tapes for the patient EJ, the narcissist from Adriana's timeline. She finds his final session, labeled in red ink, and decides to listen. The man's voice is creepy, familiar somehow. He brought Adriana a bottle of wine, a Cabernet Sauvignon from South Africa, the same kind Ethan had found. EJ is angry about being terminated. His threats are veiled but chilling. As Trisha listens, she hears a crash from somewhere nearby. She freezes, her hand flying to her mouth. She grabs a pair of scissors from a desk drawer for protection and steps out into the living room, and her blood runs cold. The portrait of Adrian Hale, the one Ethan took down, is back on the wall, its green eyes boring into her. She flees upstairs, convinced there's an intruder. She wakes a groggy Ethan, who is immediately skeptical. A noise. The house settling, snow sliding off the roof. The painting. I moved it, he says, his voice flat. He claims he put it back when he came down to get her a glass of water earlier. Trisha is freaking out, he says, and is probably right. It's the pregnancy, the stress. She allows herself to be convinced, to be soothed by his logic. But the next morning, when she tells him he moved the painting back, he looks at her like she's lost her mind. No, I took it down last night. Remember? You saw me take it down. I never put it back up. The confirmation is terrifying. If he didn't put the portrait back, somebody else did. And that same somebody must have taken it down again before morning. While Ethan is outside attempting to shovel out their car, Trisha is alone and terrified. She knows she needs to find out more. The tapes are the key. She goes back to the secret room, and this time, she notices one tape that's labeled differently from all the others. It has just one word on it, in big capital letters, Yuki Luke. Adrian's boyfriend. The man the police suspected of her murder. Why would she have a recording of her own boyfriend? Trisha grabs the tape and a stack of others. She has to know what happened. She puts in the Luke tape. We are now pulled back into Adrian's timeline. She is at the free clinic where she volunteers, feeling a profound sense of purpose that her private practice doesn't provide. And we meet Luke Strauss, has the IT guy helping the clinic transition to electronic records, has a bit of a slob with an untucked shirt and scruffy jaw, but is kind and smells of fresh soap. He has a crush on her, it's obvious to everyone. After being blackmailed by EJ with a video of her slashing a man's tires in a fit of rage, Adrienne feels a loss of control she's not used to. She asks Luke to help her install a home security system. He comes to her house that night, has cleaned himself up, has unexpectedly handsome. The professional task quickly turns personal. She invites him to participate in a mock therapy session, a Dr. Adrienne Hale experience. He sits on her couch, and she records him, just as she does all her patients. We listen to the tape with Tricia. Luke is charming, a little shy. He confesses his feelings for her. She asks him why he doesn't just kiss her. What if she doesn't want me to? He asks, what if she slaps me? I don't think she will. Adrienne's voice coos from the tape. You never know unless you try. The tape ends, but it's clear what happened next. That was the beginning of their relationship. Luke's voice on the tape is gentle, kind. He doesn't sound like a killer. But back in the present, Tricia's investigation of the house takes another dark turn. She ventures into the dusty attic. Behind a stack of boxes, she finds a sleeping bag and a pillow. Unlike everything else in the attic, they are clean, recently used. Someone has been sleeping up there. Terrified, she runs to Ethan, who again tries to rationalize her fears. It's just an old sleeping bag, but Tricia is certain. All the signs point to an intruder: the light, the food, the footprint, the moving portrait, the sleeping bag. But where are they? The climax of the first half of the book arrives when Tricia drops her wedding ring in Adrienne's office. It rolls under the heavy leather sofa. When Ethan moves the couch for her, they discover a handle on the floorboards. It's a hidden compartment. Ethan, thinking it might be hidden treasure, pulls it open. But it's not treasure. It's a body. A rotting, desiccated corpse, clothed in scraps of a blue shirt and denim pants. Tricia is violently ill. They assume it's the body of Dr. Adrienne Hale. They are trapped in a house with a dead body under the floor and a blizzard raging outside. As they try to process the horror, they hear a crash from the office where they just found the corpse. Ethan grabs the knife again. They confront the intruder. It's a man, scraggy, bearded, looking like he hasn't eaten in weeks. It is Luke Strauss. And he has a bombshell of his own. That body under the floor. He doesn't think it's Adrienne. Adrienne never wore blue jeans. He says, his voice cracking. She hated them. That's not her under the floor. If that's not Adrienne, who is it? And where is the real Adrienne Hale? The tension is unbearable. Ethan, convinced Luke is a dangerous liar who murdered his girlfriend and hid the body, ties him to the sofa with duct tape. Ethan decides he has to go for help, walking through the blizzard to the main road. He makes Tricia promise not to go into the office, not to let the prisoner manipulate her. But Tricia can't stay away. She needs answers. She goes into the office where Luke is tied up. He tells her he knows who the body is. Do you know who it is then? She asks. Yes, Luke hesitates. I think I do. And here, McFadden drops a twist so profound it rewrites the entire story we've just experienced. Tricia goes back to the hidden room to put the tapes back. She finds the last tape from the patient PL. As she listens, we hear Dr. Hale confront her patient. I'm saying you made the whole thing up, Dr. Hale says. There never was a man at the cabin. You murdered your fiancé and your friends and you made up a fictional assailant. The patient PL is Patricia. Tricia is Patricia. The traumatized victim from the cabin story was the killer all along. Dr. Hale, the human lie detector, figured it out, and she used that knowledge to blackmail Patricia into doing her dirty work. There's somebody who's been causing me some trouble, we hear Dr. Hale say on the tape. I'd like to take care of it, but I can't do it myself. Oh, I think you know, Patricia. The book then shifts to Patricia's perspective. She is not Tricia, the sweet, nervous newlywed. She is a cold, calculating killer. She killed her fiancé and her friends. She killed her grandmother for the inheritance. And Dr. Hale, after blackmailing her, forced her to help get rid of the patient EJ. Patricia kidnapped him from a casino, brought him to the house, and Dr. Hale locked him in the compartment under the floorboards to suffocate. The body is not Adrienne's, it's Edward Jamison's. After EJ was dead, Patricia, fearing Adrienne would one day expose her, killed Adrienne and buried her body on a deserted dirt road. The entire trip to the house with Ethan was a setup. Patricia, now living as Tricia, saw the house was for sale and knew she had to get back inside to dispose of EJ's body before it was discovered. She orchestrated the entire event, including getting them stuck in the blizzard. Ethan knows nothing. He is simply a pawn in her elaborate game. The man tied to her couch, Luke Strauss, is the only person who knows she isn't who she says she is. And he knows that the body under the floor is not his beloved Adrienne. He is a loose end. A very dangerous loose end. The final chapters of the book unfold in a breathtaking, horrifying sequence of events. Tricia or Patricia finds herself alone in the house with Luke. Ethan is still gone. The power dynamic has completely shifted. Luke is not a killer, but he is the only person who can expose her. The story we thought we were reading a haunted house thriller about a young couple was a lie. The real story is about a chameleon, a ruthless killer trying to cover her tracks, and the two men who stand in her way. But McFadden has one more trick up her sleeve. We learn that Patricia's meeting with Ethan wasn't a coincidence either. She sought him out. We discover that Ethan's mother, Gail, was also one of Dr. Hale's patients. In a stunning late-night confession, after Tricia confronts him about burning his mother's therapy tapes, Ethan admits that he killed his abusive, alcoholic mother for the insurance money by pushing her down the stairs. The book ends with the two of them, a husband and wife, two murderers, confessing their darkest secrets to each other. Patricia tells Ethan everything about Cody, Alexis, Adrienne, EJ. And just when we think Ethan will be horrified, he has a different reaction. "I think that guy Luke is going to be a big problem," he says. "He knows way too much. I'm glad I'm here to help you. We can take care of this problem the right way, together." The two killers, these two soulmates, have found each other, and their first act as a truly honest couple will be to murder the last person who knows the truth. So, what makes Never Lee radically different from other psychological thrillers? It's the sheer audacity of its structure. Freida McFadden doesn't just give you a twist. She builds the entire novel on a foundation of deception, making the reader a victim of the protagonist's lies right alongside the other characters. You trust Tricia. You feel her fear. You root for her. And when the truth is revealed, the sense of betrayal is shocking and deeply personal. It forces you to reevaluate every page you've read, every observation Tricia made, every fear she expressed. This is not a book with a twist at the end. This is a book that is a twist. Who is this book for? It is for the adrenaline junkie. It is for the reader who loves the feeling of the rug being pulled out from under them, who prides themselves on guessing the ending and wants to be proven gloriously wrong. If you devoured books like Gone Girl, The Silent Patient, or The Woman in Cabin 10, this is your next obsession. It's for anyone who understands that the most terrifying monsters are the ones who look just like us, the ones who can smile sweetly while hiding a graveyard of secrets behind their eyes. Who is this book not for? This is not for the faint of heart. It is not for the reader who requires their protagonists to be likable or moral. It is not a slow, literary exploration of character. It is a bullet train of suspense designed for maximum impact and shock value. If you prefer gentle stories or straightforward mysteries, where good triumphs over evil in a neat and tidy way, you should steer clear. This book is messy, dark, and it will live in your head for days. The single most valuable takeaway is a chilling, unforgettable reminder you can share a home, a bed, a life with someone, and never truly know who they are. The person you love most could be the very last person you should ever trust. You've now heard the setup, the secrets, and the lies. You've been inside the house on Cedar Lane. You've met Tricia, the terrified new lead, and Patricia, the ruthless killer. You've met Adrienne Hale, the brilliant psychiatrist with a dark side, and Ethan, the perfect husband with a secret of his own. But this summary is just the blueprint of the trap. To truly experience the claustrophobia, to feel the ice in your veins as each lie unravels, you have to walk through those rooms yourself. You have to listen to the whispers on those tapes and feel the weight of what is buried beneath the floor. Believing you know the ending now is the final deception. The epilogue delivers a final, gut punch of a twist that I haven't even hinted at. One that will redefine everything you thought you just figured out. This summary is the map. Reading the book is the journey itself. To truly understand the depths of this story's darkness, you have to let Freida McFadden's words get under your skin. The link to purchase Never Lee is in the description below. Go get it. And whatever you do, don't turn your back on the ones you love. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more summaries that will change the way you see the world. Now go, find out what happens when two killers fall in love.